Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pond. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. You can't go on, man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man, so tough, but man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pond. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Is that field goal good in a dome? The field goal good in a dome? Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Is that field goal good in a dome? I'm going to go around the room here in a second and ask you guys to name a single favorite thing from the football weekend.
Just one?
Just one. One favorite thing from each of you from the football weekend. I imagine, Billy, how happy were you? Put me next to you when that field goal goes wide and you are happy to see Josh Allen's dumb face. And you have an ally now in Jessica. I was really surprised by this. Jessica has been infected by the Buffalo Bills hate that we have around here. How happy were you? How did you react to that field goal going wide?
I was rooting for the Bills yesterday.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
What?
I kind of wanted the Bills to win yesterday.
Tired of the Chiefs?
I'm in a weird, I guess, sports fandom spot where I had, a couple games that I was like, I like both teams. I hope they both win.
Agreed.
Bucks, Lions, I hope they both won. Yeah. Yesterday, Chiefs and Bills, I was like, it'd be really fun to see the Chiefs and Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl and what that is going to all amount to. And, how is Jason Kelsey going to outdo himself? Are we doing no pants next weekend? Where are we going to go from here? So I was, trying to figure that one out. But then the Bills, I was also like, so many people wrote them off, and I would like them to be wrong. Even though I was one of those people, I would like them to be wrong. It'd be kind of good if the Bills won here, and then you go and you'd have the whole thing. And the Bills in the off season, remember they had the Super Bowl trophy, and people were like, why do you have a Super Bowl trophy in your practice facility? You've never won the Super Bowl. Why is the Lombardi Trophy there? You haven't earned that. But it was a motivational thing, and I was like, oh, this could all come together perfectly. And people who said the windows closed, they were all wrong. Again, I was one of those people, and I felt like it'd be kind of cool. And then I was like, I feel nothing.
Okay, so you were just rooting for anarchy.
A long answer.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Did Jason Kelsey win the weekend? It is hard for someone who looks like that to be shirtless and steal Taylor Swift's shine.
His brother had 2 touchdowns, and he had the better weekend as a Kelsey brother.
He was the best Kelsey on the field.
He was
around the field.
He was drinking and tailgating before the game. He gave off a lot of everyman. But speaking of liking when people are wrong, Billy, I want to play an assortment of sounds that you can enjoy because people are wrong. Here's Mike Francesa on Lamar Jackson.
In college this year, Mike, I think there's 5 or 6 very good quarterbacks if they come out, and the Jets could possibly, if they're picking around 9 or 10, can grab one of these quarterbacks, and that could be their quarterback in the future. And I hope they pick the kid from Louisville because I think he's by far the best athlete in college football.
I don't think he's a quarterback, though, Mike. I think you're going to have the same problems with him. I do not think he's a good passer. I think he's an excellent athlete. I think he could play in the NFL at another position. I think he is an incredible runner. I don't think he's a quarterback. I don't think he's a passing quarterback. I just don't. I don't think he's going to be a successful passer. I really don't. I think he's a great athlete.
Billy likes to hear people be wrong.
I like Mike Francesa.
The Pope.
Yeah.
Here's Colin Cowherd on Lamar Jackson.
And I've said Lamar Jackson's a more talented version of Tim Tebow. And all I get is pushback. All I get is pushback. And I say, no, you watch what's going to happen. Baltimore and Denver. were proud franchises with Super Bowls, getting very frustrated with their head coach on the hot seat. Both guys were overdrafted. Both guys are projects, not prospects. Tim Tebow was a project. He was never a prospect. Lamar Jackson's a project. He's not Sam Darnold. He's not Josh Rosen. You watched them last night. He's not even close. He's not even close. First of all, first 2 times he gets the ball, he scrambles. Third one, hands off, 3 and out. Next time he gets the ball, second drive, scrambles. Took him until the 6th play till he threw a pass. By the way, it was 0 for 3 to the left side, 3 for 3 to the right side. So right now he's way more comfortable throwing to one side of the field and running to the other side of the field.
Size.
There was way more bad than good. He's not close to RG3 at this point. He's not. Forget Flacco. RG3's not as good as Flacco. Lamar's not even close to RG3, and it won't matter. It never mattered with Tebow. Lamar Jackson, with the best offensive coach arguably in college football, as a 3-year starter, completed less than 60% of his throws last year. That's as a 3-year starter with Bobby Petrino. In 5 of his games last year as a 3-year starter with Bobby Petrino, an NFL coach coaching in college. In 5 of his games, he completed 15 passes or less. As a 3-year starter in college with Bobby Petrino. Not even in the best conference in the country. And here you have a young quarterback who runs right now better than he throws, and he's new, flashy, and fun, and he's hope. He is hope. And now, add Twitter and stir. Lamar Ball is what we may be calling him by November. Of course Lamar's not close. I've never thought he was close. That's why I keep calling him a project. I never call him a prospect. Sam Darnold's a prospect.
Nailed the dismount. Stugotz.
He's not totally wrong there. He is a much more talented version of Tim Tebow.
Well,
just a lot more talented.
The other thing with Colin is I doubt he'll revisit that, ever think about that again. He's a volume shooter. He's on to the next tape.
The volume shooter.
Yes.
Speaking of which, here's some more wrong from before the playoffs started.
Oh, no. Dan, this time of year, everyone talks about teams they don't want to see come playoff time. I want to talk about a team that I actually want to see come playoff time. I want to see the Chiefs. I want Patrick Mahomes strolling into my stadium with max confidence. I want Travis Kelce. I want Taylor Swift. I want the team that lost to Jordan Love. I want the team that lost to Aiden O'Connell. I want the team that trailed 17-0 to Jake Browning. That is the team that I would like to face in the playoffs. That's the team, indeed, that I would want to face in the playoffs because that team is not very good. I have been saying for years there is something off in Kansas City. Last year, that take didn't go so well for me. They won the Super Bowl. This year, it's going very, very well. They are 10-6. They're down. The offense is not what it used to be. The defense doesn't travel well. They're good at home, not great on the road. If I'm a playoff team, I don't want Flacco. I don't want Mike Tomlin. I don't want any of those teams. The teams that I want strolling into my stadium, Kansas City Chiefs.
Shocking.
Felt so good 4 weeks ago. Do it at Baltimore.
This is what you need to do, though. You need to learn from Colin and just not revisit it. Like Colin,
Well, I'm not. Dan is.
I don't want to say that Colin is you with like a stylist and a PR person, like cleaning everything up. But like, let's give our Zay flowers to Colin because Colin is like pretty incredible in that like. I don't think he actually cares all that much. You know what I mean?
No, he doesn't.
But he goes on there and he like has all this. He's a very talented thespian. He goes out there, he puts on a performance, and he gives off like this passion, like he really cares about this topic. And I feel like he just goes home and he chills, and he doesn't really care about this all that much.
Just like Stugotz, Patrick Mahomes has now made it to the AFC Championship game every year since they made him a starter. And back then, this is what Stugotz was saying at the time.
Go ahead, Andy Reid. I dare you to go 14-2 and allow Alex Smith to leave Arrowhead Stadium to leave Kansas City. Go ahead, I dare you. Because of Patrick Mahomes. Because you think you could turn Patrick Mahomes into something that Alex Smith is not. Alex Smith is a very good quarterback. The audacity, first off, to do this to Alex Smith, who's been very good and loyal to Andy Reid and won him a lot of football games, to dangle Patrick Mahomes out there because Andy Reid thinks he's some sort of quarterback whisperer, which he is not, by the way. He is not, because if he was, Alex Smith would be better than he's been the last few years. So I dare.
That's a record for contradiction.
It's on Andy Reid.
That is
the only reason Alex Smith is not better is Andy Reid.
That's a world record for Stugotz not paying attention to any of the things he said the sentence before.
What a great clip that is.
In fairness to Stugotz, we didn't see that Alex Smith thing through because he got that injury, so you never know what could have been.
Which he is not, by the way.
There is only one person around here who got it right. It is Mina Kimes. She got it exactly right.
I think the Kansas City Chiefs will still play in the AFC Championship. I know that.
How?
Oh, it's good, right? I look so bad in this video. I can't believe I'm letting you guys do this.
Explain with 20 seconds left.
I think outside of the Baltimore Ravens, when you look around the division, or the conference rather, I think all of the AFC teams are pretty flawed. Talked about Miami's defense. We'll see what happens with Buffalo. The Jags are a mess, but they'll probably win. The Browns are scary, but I think that they'll get knocked out by the Ravens, depending on how that thing shakes out. So when you look around and you're like, okay, well, one team has Patrick Mahomes. I know that the quarterback or the offense has been a mess, but the defense still looks pretty damn good.
Jessica, what was your favorite thing from the football weekend? One thing, and you can only pick one.
It has to be Jason Kelce, right? I mean, that game was awesome.
Man.
Actually, wait, no, I take it back. The game ended before 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Yeah, that was my favorite thing. That was great. 1A, 1B, Jason Kelce.
So Jason Kelce is still in play, or, I mean...
For you want to take it? Chris, what was your favorite thing from the football weekend?
John Harbaugh dancing.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, do we have that? We have to get that in a second, but first we're going to get Tony. That dancing, was it just him that you enjoyed, or was it all the Ravens coaches? Because all of them did it stronger than most coaches usually do it. It's not, we're grading on a curve here, but Harbaugh sold it the most aggressively. Here you go, Stugotz. Have you seen all of this?
Yep.
See, for me, you gotta let the head coach thrive here. Like, this is a little look at me, Louie coach. This is like something I would do when it should be
Steve.
It should be really? Dan in the middle dancing, the head coach, but it's some linebackers coach.
It's Stugotz, right?
Well, that's okay.
Oh, here he comes. Baby. Yeah.
You need an opening act.
Right, yeah.
Tony, what was your favorite thing from the football weekend?
Dan, my favorite thing from the football weekend was seeing Detroit throwing around all the towels and stuff, and seeing when they were about to win, just how the place exploded and sounded like a college atmosphere in a pro stadium that you never hear, and especially with Detroit at this time of year when they've never had this. It was really cool.
I'm already sick of this 99-year-old fan or whatever they always show now. It's just I was cool a few weeks ago when they're like, this guy's been season ticket holder for 60 years. I don't need him after every touchdown. Come on.
Every team has that fan, please.
Exactly.
I'm totally with you. Yeah.
With the Chiefs, it's Taylor Swift. But Chris is proving the point. No. It's not because it's Taylor Swift. I don't like any fan that they show me more than one time.
Yeah. The Taylor Swift thing doesn't bother me. Maybe because I'm kind of a Swiftie. That doesn't affect me. I'm more bothered by this old guy that they just keep showing him for no reason.
I'd kind of just don't want to build a connection with that fan. Is that bad? I felt it with Sister Jean. I don't want to build a connection with the elderly.
Because mortality?
Correct. Yeah.
When did we have Sister Jean on?
Well,
5 years
I know.
She's
but
still alive.
She was never actually on, though, right?
Well,
we had her on.
It never
aired that.
No, we had her on.
The audience
again.
doesn't know.
Oh, yeah, we had her on a
Thank you
second
for
time.
my opening, the apron there.
I just don't want to build a connection with this man because now in let me not finish my sentence.
There's a
but now in
Sister
6
Jean
months,
tape?
I'm going to miss him.
Yeah, there's lost tapes.
6 months? What are you doing?
I didn't finish that.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Are you already sick of the Lions' 99-year-old fan? You say every team has a fan like that. The reason every team doesn't have a fan like that is because Detroit hasn't won like this in 50 years. All the other teams win more than Detroit. Calvin Johnson's going to join us here in about 15 minutes to talk about some of this stuff. But this, Stugotz, is from John Ehrlichman. He says, things that didn't exist when the Detroit Lions last played an NFC championship game. Amazon, BlackBerry, eBay, Facebook, Gmail, Google, Instagram, iPhone, Internet Explorer, MySpace, Netflix, Palm Pilot, Tesla, Skype, text messages, Twitter, Uber, Wikipedia, Yahoo, YouTube.
Jess, Tony, Lucy.
You loved that Lions-Bucks game, didn't you?
Yeah, that was my favorite thing of the sporting weekend was Tampa Bake. And seeing Baker at least solidify a career in the NFL, I think, with that performance. And I wish, even though Mike Evans ended up having a good stat line, Mike Evans these last 2 weeks has been sabotaging my guy.
Weird.
It's terrible. Turning the third down conversions into interceptions. You can't survive that. But Baker Mayfield having the guts, proving that he might actually have the goods was my favorite thing.
It was great to watch them. If you had the Bucks plus 6.5 and they got that touchdown trying to make it 6 and Baker throwing a touch pass, that is not his strength. I mean, it's not. He knows one speed, and that is 99 miles per hour right down the middle. That's it.
He had a couple of balls to the outside that were incredible.
Oh, so many
passes.
great throws this weekend. So many ridiculous throws. Goff had one. Like, there were so many.
The Allen throw.
That was
late in
the
game.
best throw I've ever
Unbelievable.
seen.
The one that Diggs dropped?
Yes.
Dude.
It's his fault.
Stephon
It's
Diggs.
Diggs' fault. You want to be a wide receiver number 1? Act like it.
Did everyone stand up when that happened? Did you stand up like while the ball was in midair?
You don't want to
See
know what I
happened?
did when that ball was in the air.
What'd you do? Now I'm curious.
Do you
wanna know.
understand how surprised everyone in the stadium was given the way the Bills played that game, with Allen throwing the ball 16 times for completions behind the line of scrimmage? To see him air it out like that, no one more surprised than Diggs himself, who had the worst game he's had as a Bill. That ball went right through his hands, Stugotz.
It did.
And he had a terrible game. And didn't you guys find it interesting that as soon as the Bills came in, got rid of Dorsey, and tried to limit Josh Allen's recklessness, that game they played yesterday, the Bills, where the Chiefs have only 8 possessions, Stugotz, and they punted once, I think. The Bills spent the entire game playing that game they played last year down here against the Dolphins, where you're throwing the ball 4 and 5 yards, 16 completions behind the line of scrimmage. He's playing like Alex Smith. They made him play like Alex Smith in order to avoid turnovers and not allow the turnovers to beat them. And then they had the game at the end, and Diggs couldn't make a catch that completely changes how we're talking about all of this today.
He had 26 completions for 186 yards. You're right. That's very Alex Smith-like.
It's not.
It is,
It's
right.
not Josh Allen-like, but it's when this is the comfort and the confidence that comes with being Mahomes and Andy Reid. You're not afraid in these situations because you've been there for 6 straight years. But when you're McDermott, you got to fight for your job, and you've already fired Ken Dorsey. And the thing you need to do, because everyone knows how good your team is make sure your quarterback's not reckless. You play that game against the champs, and you lose to the champs. You lose to the champs who are super limited. Stugotz, Mahomes had more yardage drops this year by a quarterback. No one else had 300 yards. He had more than 300 yards dropped this year because his receivers are so bad. Mike asked me before the game. I actually sound stupid now. I've been wrong. I've had every opinion on Josh Allen, including conflicting opinions, and they've all been wrong.
I'm proud of you.
All of them have been wrong. And Mike Ryan asked me before that game, who would you prefer in this game, Josh Allen or Mahomes? I'm like, I want Buffalo's offense. I've seen how that Kansas City offense looks. That's why Kansas City was an underdog in that game. I've seen the way those receivers look. Give me Mahomes and an offense that can be explosive, but when they're coached and the sphincters tighten, they weren't an explosive offense yesterday because they were throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage all game.
I feel like towards the end of that game, they're trying to be too exact. They're trying to not give Patrick Mahomes any time, Dan. And when you're focused on that, on getting the clock to 0 and not just focused on scoring the football, because they have that in their head from a few years ago where they left Mahomes 13 seconds and he tied up the game. Just score!
I feel like they did the opposite, Stu. He took 2 shots to the end zone on 2nd and 9 and 3rd and 9, and then they had to kick a longer field goal instead of just trying to do something easy underneath and give them a better chance to score a touchdown when you still have time on the clock.
He missed a wide open receiver in the end zone. I'm just saying they were definitely focused on trying to get that clock as close to zero as possible.
It can't be both things. It can't be running out the clock and he missed a wide open receiver in the end zone when he's throwing in the end zone. Unless you're accusing him
that was a bad throw.
Unless you're accusing him of purposely throwing it poorly so that they could keep the ball.
No, that's
got
exactly
hit
what
on
I'm
that.
accusing him.
On that one where he was trying to go deep down the middle, he got hit as he was throwing it, so it came up short.
I mean, there are a couple of passes, Dan. Rewatch that last drive where he's throwing it into the turf.
Agreed.
He's just trying to prolong the drive.
Okay,
go score.
That part I disagree
McDermott
with.
should be fired. Okay, I mean seriously, Dan.
That
if
I'm
you're
with.
Terry Pagula, okay, and the phone rings this morning,
Billy, is this recycled?
and it's Belichick.
Is this recycled from
I didn't ask.
God Bless
I
Football?
did not ask Billy this question.
No.
Thank you.
We did play hot seat or not seat, but we didn't do this.
That was Billy's game.
Are we getting the fresh stuff from
Your
Stugotz
Pagula,
here?
the phone rings. It's Belichick. What do you do?
All
What
right.
do you do, Dan?
Stugotz, are you aware that Belichick has no suitors? He went 2 interviews to Atlanta.
Don't
Dan,
do
don't do
that.
that.
You
I care
sound
about
silly.
you.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
You didn't
don't
see
do
the
it.
reports.
Don't do
There's
it.
teams with active coaches that are waiting to reach out. They just can't yet. Don't do that.
Don't
He
do
doesn't
that.
have suitors.
Please.
Come on. You sound silly.
I'm simply saying that at the moment, the only team that's had an interest is the Falcons, who have
Twice.
interviewed him twice and are now bringing in other candidates.
Heinrich Himmler, hot seat or not seat?
I'm only saying that at the moment, Bill Belichick does not have a bunch of opportunities.
No, this is the thing that you do, Dan. You have to be respectful for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
this is when there's a long-term relationship that just ended, and you're like, kind of interested in that person, but what's the right amount of time before you make a move? You know what I mean? That's what's going on right now. You don't want to be over-aggressive. You don't want to be the desperate person. You want to be the one that's just right, that's there when they need you.
Today, the agent calls. He dips his toe in the water. Bill doesn't reach out to
Hey,
anyone.
how you feeling?
Yes,
Just
right,
wanted to reach
yeah.
out. Hope everything's okay. You know,
Right.
I'm going to side with you over the Patriots, just so you know. I can't say it, but we're on your side here.
Right. If anything, Belichick sends McDermott a text saying, tough loss, keep your head up, you know? Right.
Joseph Goebbels, hot seat or not seat?
Mahomes is now 8-2 when he trails by 7 or more points in the playoffs. 8-2. The only 2 losses are against Brady.
He did it on the road, Dan.
Stugotz
did.
told him to do it on the road and now says do it in Baltimore.
Well, he has such a great opportunity here. I mean,
What do you
Dan, this
mean?
would really put him in. Like,
What do
it
you
would,
mean? Wait a minute.
For what? He's won 2 Super Bowls.
No, guys, if he beats Josh Allen on the road, there's a difference. I'm
He already
sorry.
did.
And he beats Lamar Jackson the following week on the road in Baltimore and then goes on to win his 3rd Super Bowl. This is a whole different discussion.
I don't think we can think any higher of Patrick Mahomes.
No,
Like, I
can.
feel like
We
we're
can.
at our limit.
He's been to
No,
the
you're
AFC
not.
Championship
You're
game
not there yet.
every year that he's played.
You're not there yet.
I know what he's doing here. This
Yeah.
allows him to rip Lamar Jackson if he doesn't beat Mahomes. It's what he wants.
Well, listen.
It allows him to say, I didn't do it in the playoffs because Mahomes always does it in the playoffs.
Right. Well, Lamar, and I'm doing this as a friend, okay? Because
To who?
To whose friend are you being?
Lamar Jackson's, okay? I am not saying this, but the media this week is going to say this. You are the best player in the NFL. You're the most important player in the NFL.
I heard this on the Gojo walk along last night.
Well, Dan, I only have so many takes, you
All right,
know?
well, don't
I do.
reheat them
Right.
here. Thank you.
I didn't
thank you.
finish, but okay.
Well, but that's fine. Listen,
Check out Gojo's Watch Along.
Yeah,
Right.
thank
You
you.
were watching that?
No, Jessica just told me.
Thought it was a safe haven for
All
me.
right, Dan. We're going to give it away.
All right, I'll go sit in the penalty box.
Thank you.
Snitch, Dan.
You're good. I did use it last night.
I also found out that Golick Sr. bathes in Christine's bathwater. You guys just missed a lot last night.
Wait, what?
Go on.
She draws a bath and then Golick bathes in the water after her.
Got to save water.
That's kind of hot.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Saltburn vibes.
You're turned on?
that's a little hot.
So wait, the water is kind of like lukewarm already?
Yeah,
It's not hot.
He said it's still you.
just sitting in his wife's juices.
No, what?
Mike, don't. That was too far.
What
Dan looks like he should
What?
be
That's
wearing
what's
Vans
happening.
today, right?
Bathwater.
He's wearing like bootleg ones, like ones that like the line cooks wear so they don't slip. I think that's what Dan's wearing.
Billy,
Matt-
you mentioned that Colin Coward is Stugotz with a stylist and a PR team, but
Yeah.
Dan definitely
nicer
got
microphone.
a stylist, right?
Matt
I think
Sullivan
he looks good.
Matt
Yeah.
Sullivan suggested that we start a chart for days in a row Dan's worn a collar shirt, even though I don't know if he's wearing one today actually.
No, but he's got like a nice bomber on.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
nice jacket.
And no
Good
hat.
angle.
A little monochromatic, if you ask me.
I
He
think
has
that's
been into
the
that
lighting.
recently,
I
though.
think that's the green screen though, making it look more
It-
gray, right?
It seems all olive.
Well, it's gray on gray. A lot
It's
of
all
gray in
olive.
there.
yeah, this is the lighting in there.
Like a little touch of color somewhere.
50 Shades of Gray.
Did you guys see the picture with Matt
What?
Barnes and Stack and Dan and making Dan look like he was 4 feet tall?
Yeah, perspective.
It was
He
insane.
was also leaning in.
He was.
Did you see that photo of Wemby dunking over Badgley?
Yeah.
Badgley's 6'10". He looks like a little child.
The Lions kicker?
Money Badger.
Is it Bagley?
Is it?
I don't know.
I got
Marvin
Canes on my
Bagley,
mind.
yeah.
He's bounced around.
Yeah, sorry. I'm excited.
Bags.
Do you know that the University of Miami, I think, if Gus Edwards scores, has the most points from players in this NFL postseason?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's because
You're taking solace in that?
Because we have Money Badger.
Off-season champs.
Megatron is joining us next.
He is Detroit royalty, Stugotz. He got a video tribute yesterday, a huge ovation at Ford Field. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler, and I believe that he could go out there right now at 38 years old and have 8 catches for 110 yards.
I can't believe he's only 38. I also think he should get a ring if the Lions win it all.
Okay,
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson with us, and it is nice to see him have a good relationship with the organization because it seemed like it was I don't know. I was judging it from afar, so we'll let him talk. Calvin, thank you for being on with us. It's been a pleasure to watch your work for a long time, sir, and we're happy for the success of the Lions. It seems like everybody is.
No, it's exciting times around here in Detroit, man. Man, everybody's giddy. You know, you go anywhere in Detroit, people got their colors on, and you can't do nothing but talk football around here right now.
How did the relationship get better, Calvin, with the team? Because I've said before that the franchise has been so hurting for so long that they made not one but 2 of their legends say, okay, I've had enough. This sport hurts, and I don't want to do it anymore. How did you fix the relationship so that you're now around and you get to enjoy this with everybody?
Yeah, I think a big part of it, man, you know, the COO there, Mike Disner, you know, he went out of his way, to bring the 2 sides back together, you know, obviously under Sheila and all that over there. But I'm just appreciative. You know, I always wanted to, be a part of that and have my kids my family be able to go around there, and see all the good work that I put in and, just to be a part of something like this now, just makes it, that much better. Timing was great.
Athletes obviously can be prideful. So how was that bridge connected, right? Were you hurt by something? Like what was the medicine on that?
I think the medicine was really just somebody on the other side going out their way to try to bring the 2 sides together. Because I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it by myself. I would need somebody from the other side to extend a hand. And Mike Disner was the one to do that. So I'm extremely appreciative of all he's done for me.
Calvin, you played with Dan Campbell, and I'm wondering if I told you back then when you were playing with him, this would be the guy, this would be the coach that would lead Detroit to the NFC Championship game, you would have told me what?
I would have told you he's a dude. He's a dude. He's that guy that was out there, when we were playing. He was starting and had one shoulder, really one arm to work with. I mean, that could tell you where we were as a Lions team at the time, or it just tell you how good of a guy, or how much of a stud this guy was. I would go with the latter, just because of where we are today with him, man. He's a great guy, and it's nothing better to have a player that played in this league as your head coach.
But if we were being honest, I sidle up next to you and I'm like,
he did a great job there, Calvin.
The tight end over there that's got one arm, Calvin. The highest he gets to in the coaching ranks is tight end coach, correct? Like that from that vantage point, it would have been hard to see this.
100%. I can't even lie. Honestly, just sitting there knowing Dan, great dude, but I didn't see him as a head coach. I even asked him, like, dog, did you ever see yourself like here in this spot? He was like, man, I forget what he said exactly, but I don't believe he saw it at first either. But he just, just being his authentic self, man, it's taking him a long way.
You have been around the team more, I think, this year than at any time in the past. Do I have that right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And what has that been like for you? Does any part of you miss it?
I think the one thing, not only me, but any of the guys, you don't miss the running up and down the field, the pushing weights and all that. You really miss the camaraderie. Now it was great these last 2 weeks because all the guys that I played with, for the most part, everybody's coming back in town to see these guys play. Because we're proud. We're proud to rep the Honolulu Blue and to see these guys having success now, man. And it's just we feel like we're part of that as well.
Give me some numbers. I put you out there right now. Right now, I put you out there. What's your stat sheet look like at the end of the game at 38 years old?
If y'all put me out there right now, I'm going to tell y'all just to put me inside the 10-yard line so I ain't got to run too far. I can't jump like I used to, but I can still probably go up and catch a fade.
What did your body feel like at the end, Calvin? Because with Julio Jones and others, I don't think people understand what it's like to carry that frame, play that physically, that sport, what it does to your feet. Like when you retired, what was your body feeling like?
Yeah, man. I played at 240 my whole career, but for me, it's all the joints. My knees, my ankles. I always felt like even today sometimes I feel like my Achilles has just got like one more thread. Like I do something crazy and it's gonna go. Same with my knee. I always have sharp pains there, but it was at the time, man. It was just too much. it was the pain and all that overweighed, the joy from the game. And, that's when, for me, I knew at that time I've accomplished my goals. I was like, okay, it's time to hang them up.
How hard a decision was it for you? Like, how much did you wrestle with it?
I wrestled with it I didn't wrestle with it too much. The only part I wrestled with was the season that I knew I was going to, during my ninth season, I knew I was going to retire. Funny thing is, I would tell my guys at lunch, like, I'm done. Like, I would tell my guys if Kobe retired that year, I'd be like, man, I'm out of here like Kobe, dog. I'm done. And none of the guys, they believed me. None of them believed me. And then at the end of the season, it's like, damn, you was telling the truth the whole time. You was telling us the whole season. But the reason I didn't come out with it was because I didn't want it to be a distraction for the team going throughout the whole season. And it was my thing. I didn't know how to tell Coach Caldwell. Man, he was one of the best head coaches I've had in my time. And it just, unfortunately, my body and where we were at the time, just, I didn't have too many more years for him. But, I wish I could have played longer with him.
Can you articulate for us the difficulties in playing that game that hurts that way and demands so much from the body when your heart's not in it, when you're at lunch and you're saying, I'm done? You don't want to be at work.
It all started in the offseason. Well, I'll tell you this. The season before, after my eighth season, I told my dad, like, Dad, I think I'm done. And he asked me, like, you think you can do it one more time? And I sat there and thought about it. And before I could say anything, he's like, well, since you're thinking about it, you could probably do it one more time. And, but going into that season, the off-season training, I knew I wasn't able to do all the things that I was doing in the past in order to get myself ready for the season. So I knew that if I can't put in and do the things that I did in the past, it's going to be hard for me to get out the production that I was able to put out in the past. And with that, it came with I didn't have a dislike for the game. But it was more so like, geez, like I'll be at games like I'll tell my guys, like, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through this game today in pregame. It would be like that all the time my whole last year.
Did you doubt your decision at any point? Obviously, there's relief at the beginning. The first year, you feel good to be relieved. Yeah, I'm just good to not be in pain. But was there any doubt thereafter?
Every time I thought about going back, or if I could go back, I got a quick reminder, how my body felt. Whether I go do something physical or whatnot. And I just, with the pain and the ailments that I had, there's no way that I was going to be able to do a whole another season without getting shot up every game. Got shot up almost every game anyway, but we know that stuff isn't good for you. So you're just trying to put myself in the best position. And I always try to put natural things in my body. And I just wanted to be available for my kids, man. I wanted to be able to play with my kids. And I saw the way that things were going, man. If I just put in every other year I put in from this point on, I'm just killing my body. I'm just wrecking my body. And I was at the point where, I was tired of it.
Calvin, I'm wondering here, because you own the NFL record for most receiving yards in a season. Did Tyreek Hill make you nervous?
Hell yeah.
You were watching that?
hey, if Tyreek didn't get hurt this year, man, he probably would have took it. He's with the extra game, man, it's going to get taken at some point. I'm fortunate to have had it for over a decade, now. But at some point, I feel like every year somebody's getting close to it.
Who's the receiver you like watching the most now?
Oh, that's tough, man. I love watching my home team. I love watching those guys, but I love Amon-Ra and all those guys. But I love A.J. Brown. I like watching that kid. I like Devontae Smith. Been a fan of him since he was in Alabama. I know those boys on the Eagles. I'm trying to think who else we got out here. CeeDee Lamb. The kid plays some good ball. He's a good receiver. Who else we got out here? Obviously Jefferson and Justin Jefferson and Chase. Those kids are tough, man. And I look at these guys, man, and I just try to see who does it all. Who does it all? Who blocks? Who's selfless? And who makes crazy plays out here.
You are now the co-founder of a CBD wellness startup. What can you tell us about how it has helped you with this pain you're talking about?
Yeah, for sure, man. When we started the company, we wanted to start from an authentic place. Products that we use while we're in the league that helped us out. So we use topicals. We use a lot of rehydration drinks. And we was like, how can we, add on to these products, make them better? And we was like, okay, we're in the cannabis industry, and then so we started our CBD company behind the premise of we want to bring pharmaceutical technology, to cannabis. We're able to do that with our nanotechnology products that we have. And with the nanotechnology, decreases the particle size so it can get through the intestinal system and into the bloodstream, making it more bioavailable for your body, more useful for your body. So we started with a topical. We're able to add the anti-inflammatory components of CBD, CBG, CBC, and CBN into them. And then doing the same thing with a rehydration drink. Just really trying to target inflammation both internally and superficially. So when we have a product that's going to be that we're going through NSF for sports certification now, basically making it being able to have products that are approved for collegiate and professional athletes. We feel like we have a product that, I mean, obviously I've used it, and we wouldn't put it on the market because until we felt like that it was good enough for professionals to be able to use. But it's good. It's not just good for professionals. It's good for anybody that has any daily wear and tear, any bumps and bruises that you deal with, or if you're just physical and you have soreness. It's great for any type of inflammation on the body. So that's what we're excited to be able to get this thing onto professional teams, man. We're on our way to be able to doing some of those things and being able to announce some big news here in 2024. But all this stuff is available though on primitiveperformance.com. Very good product. I'm excited about it. Like I say, anytime I got bumps and bruises, I snowboard, I stay pretty active. So I'm using it a lot.
You guys are funny, though. When you say banged up or bumps and bruises, it's usually a little more than that. So when you say you were getting shot up every game, what was the worst of those? Did you get any shots in the feet? Because I've heard that those are the worst, but I don't know what the worst was for you.
I never got one in my feet. Before game, I would have like fluid taken out my knees before game. We would take Toradol shots before game just so you can make it through the game. I think the worst thing I ever did though was I had probably a 6-inch long needle. They stuck down in the middle of my knee, and I thought I was tough. So I'm gonna sit here and watch. I could take this. I mean, I damn near fell out when they stuck that thing in my knee. I fell back on the table. Doctor's like, "You all right?" I popped back up. I'm good. But no, that was probably the craziest thing. It didn't hurt so much. It was just watching a 6-inch needle go into your knee. That's probably what knocked me out. But crazy. I never had anything, fortunately, to my feet. I had ankle issues. Those suck because it takes forever for those to heal, especially playing receiver and constantly running. So, but yeah, man, those nothing with the feet though.
Do you have any stat, any game, any particular thing that is the thing that is proudest for you, that you feel the strongest about? That, man, I can allow myself some love here. I was really good at blank.
Talking about while playing ball?
Yes.
Man, going up on guys, making plays on 2-3 guys, those are the things that I love the most. Going up and catching the ball on all those guys. Heck yeah.
When Stafford does the no-look thing in the Super Bowl, where it's on a game-winning drive in a Super Bowl and he's throwing a no-look pass, what's happening with Calvin Johnson in his home as he's watching this?
I'm like, shit, he was doing that shit in Detroit. They talk about Patrick Mahomes. They talk about Patrick Mahomes doing this. I'm like, dang, Matthew been doing this thing since he came into the league.
No one noticed, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody gives us love in Detroit. We don't get none of that. Sure, y'all know that.
He's unusually tough, is he not?
Oh, heck yeah. The kid is tough, man. Obviously, he's had injuries to start his career, but we've seen how he's bounced. I mean, he damn near missed his first 2 seasons. But he came back strong, man. He knew he had a lot to make up, and he came back to get it.
What's your relationship with Eminem?
No, I mean, I don't have a huge relationship with Eminem. We see each other, and we're always gracious. We have a good relationship. Whenever we see each other. I did a little shoot with him 10 years ago in Detroit. And it's always good to see the guy, man. He's a legend here in Detroit, and we know the music, but he's a good dude too, man. Just to be able to sit there and chop it up with. We're talking last week at the game before the game. He's like, man, I even want to come back and play for this team. I was like, yeah, what number would you wear? And he was sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, come on, man. You got to wear number 8 for 8 Mile. Come on.
Calvin, not to get bogged down, but Patrick Mahomes is better than Matthew Stafford, right? I mean,
why are you doing that?
It just seems like there was a comparison being made.
I'm not even going to entertain that conversation.
Right. Okay.
I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole and let you have that. Patrick Mahomes, he's a beast. Patrick Mahomes, I can't even lie, man. The kid done won 2 Super Bowls in his first, 5-6 years? I don't know if that's accurate, but I mean, damn.
The 49ers,
enough said right there.
The 49ers scare you?
No, man, I like the matchup. Honestly, the way Love was trending up since like the middle of the season, since we played him on Thanksgiving, I was kind of more scared of him. Aaron Jones coming back strong. I honestly felt obviously they should have won that game. They dropped 2 interceptions, but I think I think the 49ers would be a decent matchup for us. We hit Purdy a couple times. If we could keep McCaffrey under 100 yards, I mean, he get 99, that's cool. If we just keep him under 100 yards, I think we'll be all right. I think we can do that. I don't think that's too tall of a task to ask for. I like this team. I like this team the way they're trending up right now. I like the way they've been playing the last 2 weeks. The secondary is playing great right now, so I'm excited.
Calvin, say it. It seems like you want to say it. Just say it. Just say the Lions are going to beat the 49ers and go on to the Super Bowl. Just say it. I'll say it with you.
Hey, I hope the Lions kick the 49ers' ass.
Right.
I hope to be able to go to Vegas and watch these boys in the Super Bowl. 100%.
He wants more than hope.
Yes.
He wants.
Stop praying.
I want to guarantee. Stop praying.
I was talking to Big Sean the other day. He was dead ass serious. He's like, "Hey man, we praying for this one. Like the whole city of Detroit, we praying for this one." Like, so I'm right there with him.
Primitive Performance is the CBD company. Calvin Johnson, one of the best to ever do it. Thank you, sir.
All right, good to see you guys, man.
Thank you, Calvin.
Stugotz just laughed and muttered under his breath, Mahomes has more playoff wins than Aaron Rodgers. This is not even the completion of his sixth season, right? It's 5.5.
Yeah, he's 28.
Yeah, and also him and Kelsey have more playoff touchdowns than any combination ever, more than Brady and Gronk, more than Montana and Rice. That's crazy.
It really is.
I want to ask you guys something because I think this is a little bit crazy, too, in where it is that we're putting the standard, even though I understand where we're putting the standard. I think the Cowboys have 3 straight 12-win seasons, and McCarthy's job looked like it should have been in jeopardy. And Sirianni was 10-1 5 weeks ago, and I don't think any of us could have imagined the possibility of him being fired from there. But now Adam Schefter's reporting, and this one's got some qualifiers on it, Stugotz, because Adam Schefter's not getting out there boldly with, while there's nothing official and conversations are still ongoing, it's trending towards Nick Sirianni remaining the head coach of the Eagles with changes expected at the defensive coordinator position.
Was that a fake Schefter?
I
Because
tried.
it was
pretty good.
It
yeah.
was excellent.
I feel like there's
excellent.
legs. Yeah.
I tried at the beginning, and then I lost confidence in it.
Why?
That was good. It was good.
You got
There's
this.
nothing official.
Yeah, it's so
and
good.
conversations are still ongoing. It is trending towards Nick Sirianni remaining the head coach of the Eagles, with changes expected at the DC position. And the thing that I wanted to ask you is, because this was interesting to me, he might be pressured to fire his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator. These people might be his close friends. He is spending more time with them than his family. They have huge commonalities. They're spending 16, 18 hours a day together. It's all lunacy, what these people do for a living. And your coaching staffs become your friends. And when ownership comes and asks you to fire your friends, it's hard to do. When you're in a position of strength, like a Bill Belichick, you can fight. But when you're Sirianni and the choice is you or your friends.
Your friends are going.
You or
McDermott just made that choice.
And I'm asking you, how does that one feel? Because Chris Cody was let go at ESPN. And then we left. Here, in our last 2.5 years after Freedom, that Monday where I sounded crazy, I had to protect people from getting fired. Stugotz has gotten in some hot water. I've got to protect him from being fired. When you cannot do it because you don't have the power, when you're Sirianni and you have to protect your own job, what do you imagine those complications are like if these people are your legitimate friends, if they're people that you have relationships with, and now they expect you to fight for them? Because when it comes to Chris Cody, your father, Chris, told me something I did not know on that South Beach session I did with him, which is that when you were let go, he says to me, Dan will figure something out. And I'm like, well, that's interesting that you would feel that way, because that's hard to do, to just figure something out there. If Sirianni's got to make a choice, it's me or them, and they're telling him they got to go or you're going to lose your job too. A guy who's said to be in power no longer actually has power. He's powerless there. What does he do to protect his friends? The answer is he can't. Now, I don't know how close he is to those people, but you're going to become close over that time period when you're enduring whatever it is they've endured over the last 3 years.
Don't you think those coaches in that profession, they understand? Like, they understand.
They do. This is not unique to Nick Sirianni.
Right.
And
No, it happens all the time.
What does Nick Sirianni do? Say, no, I'm going to protect my guys, and then lose his job, and then they all do?
It happens all the time. I'm talking about what gets hidden behind the scenes when Schefter's been reporting on this, and my guess is that some of this stuff hasn't happened already because Sirianni is fighting for them, and he's losing. My guess is that that's how that happens behind the scenes. Yes, it's the most common thing in the world in that profession for ownership to step in and say, I need changes. Look at ownership. Do you know how rabid Philadelphia fans and entitled they are and what they expected this year? Somebody's blood has to be in the street. And these are your friends. And you're like, well, I know what happened there. And it was my linebackers couldn't cover anybody. That's not my offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator's fault that my linebackers were shitty and they couldn't cover anybody and everyone in the sport could see it. But there has to be blood in the street when your fan base is howling. And I feel for those people when they're in those positions, and it has to be that overt. And I would tell you that even if you understand the profession, it could damage a friendship. It can damage a friendship if they don't know that you fought for them hard enough. If you can't go back to them and say, this is what I told ownership, and they told me if I do not do this, then I'm fired too.
Who almost got fired after Freedom?
We've all been kind of wondering since that.
Just out of curiosity.
I'll keep that to myself. It was more than one person.
And I was almost fired, huh?
Well, you know that.
I do.
Why are you acting as if that's some sort of surprise?
I don't know.
More than one person.
Pepper related or?
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
Why do you think I sounded so crazy that Monday?
Just that Monday.
Mike was gone.
Mike was almost gone, yes.
That wouldn't have worked out.
That wouldn't have gone well. No.
We were both almost gone.
For anybody.
Imagine having a second freedom 4 months later because that happened, and then you left your own company because of Mike to start another one.
That's right.
For 48 hours that time.
That is
Double
correct.
or nothing.
Oh, I like that. Freedom, double or nothing.
I love that not even a
Freedom
single
part
person
2.
has suggested, hey, we should do that again.
No, they've suggested, but it's been met with such angst that it's been swiftly dismissed.
You think that Clevelander roof still has that wrap on it?
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
Definitely.
Speaking of angst, have you guys considered it all? Because I thought about this. I have to go to jury duty here today. I have to leave early and go to jury duty. And there is the possibility.
Well, thank you for your service.
There is the possibility that I could get in a trial that's so long that I can't get to Las Vegas. Like I suppose it's possible as part of my civic duty. And what I wanted to just ask you guys in terms of angst and things that can happen that can cause problems, have any of us considered the idea that we're throwing a pool party at what can be 20-degree weather?
Yes, I've been saying it for weeks. It's going to be so
heated.
cold.
Heated pools, though.
Yeah, you're good. It's heated.
Yeah.
If not, cold plunge.
Can we get back to you on jury duty, though? I love that visual of you walking in there. It's like that show. What was that called?
Jury duty.
Jury duty, yeah.
If James Mars.
What if
is
you're
there,
in that
call
show? What
us.
if it's season 2 and you walk in there and it's like a lot of weird shit going on here? What if you're the actor in it now? Yeah. Wait a minute.
You did do that fake Schefter.
Wait a minute. Are you filming season 2?
Why is your jury duty thing so late? Isn't it normally at 8 in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
I got a late one, Dan. There was one time where it was like, oh, you have to show up at 2 o'clock. I was like, for what? And then 30 minutes later,
nap time.
you know what? Canceled.
What's going on? Didn't Mike have it last week? And then
Yeah.
he came and he's like, yeah, there was no cases today.
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
I was there for 38 minutes.
It's
and
all
they're like,
willy-nilly.
Good news.
I mean,
you're done.
Valerie got one too. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cindy
Ooh,
got one
couples
right after
jury
I
duty.
got
Are they
one.
targeting us? Oh my God! Like Love Is Blind, but jury duty, where it's all couples as jurors.
It's a funny thing to have something that is a civic duty where you're protecting freedom and justice and democracy, and nobody wants to do it.
You should be disqualified just by being the biggest leaky faucet in the room.
Yeah.
Right.
You should not be allowed to be.
I thought she was going to stop at just the biggest.
you want to be selected, though, right? I mean,
I'd
Super
like to
Bowl,
miss the
right?
Super Bowl. Yes, yes. I would like you guys to go alone.
Dan's looking at the defendant, trying to
I'm
raise
trying to
eyebrows.
see if I can
like-
commit a crime where I lose my actual freedom and end up in jail. Some sort of scandal, because you guys haven't considered the idea that it might be 10 degrees.
Contempt.
You can just lie and say you still have jury. We'll never know.
That's true.
I'm shocked that Stugotz hasn't tried that one yet.
I'm getting to it.